Israel's political future is still uncertain. With 97% of the vote counted, a new kingmaker has emerged, holding the balance of power with just 5 seats. The country's fourth election in 2 years saw Israel's longest-serving Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, win 30 seats. That's down 6 compared to a year ago. He's still far short of that 61-seat majority needed to form a government and will have to rely on a coalition. That's the norm for Israel's Knesset to win another term in office. I'm very pleased to say Shalom Lipner is here. He's a senior fellow at the Middle East programs at the Atlantic Council. He also served 7 consecutive Israeli premiers at the Prime Minister's office, including Benjamin Netanyahu. He joins us live from Jerusalem this morning. And Shalom, it's great to have you. Help us understand what's happening here, because Benjamin Netanyahu's pathway to victory still looks very unclear. Take us inside this coalition conundrum. What will Israel's next government look like, in your view?
Israelis went to the polls, obviously, as you know, on Tuesdays, and we're expecting final results towards the weekend. But that's only going to be the first milestone of a long road ahead procedurally. After the results are final, they go to the president, who has to sign off on them. Then he'll summon all the factions. There are 13 factions that have been elected to the next Knesset, to the parliament, who will come and make recommendations to him about who they prefer as the next prime minister. He'll then tap one of them for that task, and then the real horse trading begins. In the middle of all that, starting this weekend, there's a week-long Passover holiday, so this is a process going to take many long weeks until we know how it's going to plan out.
Okay, so still looking to see what's going to happen next. And what's also interesting here, Shalom, is that we could see an Arab party becoming part of Israel's political mix for the first time. Tell me, how is that going to be viewed domestically, and what does that mean for the region? Do you see broader implications here?
Well, it's all a question actually how this still plays out. I think we're a step back from that so far. As of this moment, there's no obvious path to power for any of the sides. There are three primary options that are on the table. The first one be some sort of reconstituted Netanyahu government. That would have its own difficulties. He would arguably be the most liberal element of a coalition that looked like that, with sort of more radical fringes and extremist elements even within his coalition that would be emboldened, that would hold the keys to him remaining in power. That would probably, to your question, open a Pandora's box opposite the international community on issues of settlement policy, on issues of judicial reform. It would even open a rift conceivably between Israel and Jewish communities around the world, who sort of have a slightly different vision for what this country should look like. A second option could be that that rival camps, his rivals, contenders, could actually put something together. That's not a clear road either, what that looks like. It would probably involve at least 7 of these 13 parties having to sit together. These are parties that, other than a consensus on wanting to move Netanyahu aside, agree on little else. And it's not even clear who would lead a group like that. So I think in the immediate stage, what we're looking at is some sort of sense of instability, tenuous continuation of the caretaker system. Conceivably people looking to attract defectors to switch from one side to the other. And that's before we get into the concept of, the possibility of 5th elections, which we can talk about too.
Right, that was going to be my next question. No obvious path to power. So is a fresh election inevitable then, do you think?
Well, I'll tell you, we've been discussing this for a long time, and it's not a surprise in a sense. We saw some surprises on the micro level, smaller parties that had a stronger or weaker showing than expected. But on the macro level, we have the current deadlock, and it's not overly surprising. The Israelis went to the polls the second time, third time, now the fourth time. They pretty much know where they stand. There's not a lot of new factors into the mix here. So there's definitely that possibility that after all these negotiations end, if there's no clear person to form a government, it's possible that they could sort of not pass go, not collect 200, and go straight to a 5th election. And that would just prolong this transitional period. The talk is that if that happened, elections would probably happen in October. That would even introduce an added level of complexity, because according to the prevailing coalition agreement of the existing government, Benny Gantz, who in this incoming parliament, I believe, holds about 7 or 8 seats, is actually slated to replace her. And that agreement, would probably end up being adjudicated by the courts if it was still valid. But I mean, there's even the possibility that during that period, while Israel's still embroiled in on a perpetual election campaign, that there could be that kind of turnover as well.